Coast to coast, border to border, and around the world, it's time for The Bill Alexander Show. The Bill Alexander Show is a guest-driven program where the topics are diverse and entertaining. Laugh and learn while you listen to one of the best hours of online radio. Now, here's your host, Bill Alexander.
Hi, everyone. Yours truly, William Eric Alexander. All my friends call me Billy, and you're on The Bill Alexander Show. So glad to have you today. Really looking forward to this program today. The reason is I get to talk to somebody that I grew up watching in the 1970s. Now, when you hear him, he sounds the same as he did in the 1970s. And who am I talking about? I'm talking about Anson Williams, better known as Potsie Weber on Happy Days. Anson, how are you doing today?
Well, Billy, I'm doing good. Nice to be on your show.
Well, I'm so glad you could join us today because this is a real pleasure for me to be able to talk to you about your career, your days on Happy Days, what you've been doing since Happy Days, and also your music career.
Yes.
So when you got casted onto Happy Days, did you ever think the program would have the staying power that it does to this day?
Oh, gosh. I was just so thankful to get cast on something that I could, pay my mortgage.
Right.
I knew we had something incredibly special in terms of the creative team behind it with the other actors, and we're still friends. So, yeah, we felt that. But you don't really know how it's going to affect the world, So it took a while to realize just how strong a connection Happy Days was, what still is, to really an international audience.
So how old were you when you were casted for the part?
About 12. I was 23 when I was cast.
You were 23 playing what, a 17-year-old?
There were two pilots.
Okay.
The first one I was 22. The second one I was 23. Yeah, playing 17. Actually, I don't know. People used to ask, how young are you on the show? I said, as young as I can get.
Okay.
The only one that was kind of true age was Ron, who was 18.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I was 4 years older than Ron. Don is maybe 3 years younger than me. Henry is older than us.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of all over the place.
So how long have you been acting at that time?
Oh, let's see. Probably professionally, maybe 4 years.
Okay.
About 4 years, yeah.
And what were you doing before that? Were you doing stage, movies,
yeah.
TVs, or just whatever came along?
Well, I started in theater. I started from the street. Actually, just paying, there's professional equity, which is theater, and
right.
There's usually two lines. One is equity members, and the other are non-equity members, and they would see me. So that's how I started. I started auditioning, and
when you did that, did you realize that's what you wanted to do?
That's why I did it.
Well, that's a good point.
I was singing in nightclubs.
Okay.
Nightclubs, they would have not singing in nightclubs. They would have talent nights.
Okay.
So you're able to go up there and make a fool out of yourself. So it was before karaoke. It was with a live piano player, and so I did that, and I found my way. And then when I started, I got a show in Hollywood called Victory Canteen. Got a commercial agent. Started doing commercials. Then I was cast. I mean, I got a good agent, and I started really playing all the concerned boyfriend roles. It was like I call it reactive. I call it reacting acting. Where it'd be a big scene, 5 pages, and I'm listening to everybody, and I maybe have a line or two per scene, per page. I mean,
right.
So it's like I'm just waiting for my line. I understand. No problem. Absolutely. And they would always cut to me for reactions, So, so it was a living. So, yeah, so I was basically doing, kind of boyfriend roles and before Happy Days. Not really. I actually got cast in Paul Lynde had a series, and I played the boyfriend of Pamela Ferdin, Paul Lynde's daughter, for a couple episodes. So that was the first.
I actually do remember that because I'm friends with her on Facebook, and she shared something probably within the last year, and it was that clip.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's sweet. Did I
so
suck?
It was kind of interesting.
Did I suck? Or was I okay?
Well, I don't remember that far back, to be honest with you.
Thanks a lot. Okay, got it. Okay.
Well, how was it to work with Paul Lynde, of all people?
Very talented. Not the most engaging guy, but very talented. He could be very intimidating, but was nice to me,
Okay.
And I don't remember much, but then years later, I worked with him on Hollywood Squares. I used to do that show quite often.
Right.
And, but he's just a funny guy, funny, complex guy.
That's interesting. So when you were casted onto Happy Days, did they basically do a generic casting session, or did they know what they wanted you to be?
No, it wasn't generic. No, that was going in for an audition.
Okay.
So, and I think, and there were two pilots. The first one, the year before, they aired it on Love American Style to get some of their budget back. But it was more of a Summer 42 like show, a softer show.
Okay.
And I was, the character I auditioned for was more like Oski, Jerry House's character on Summer 42. And so I just, and I got the part, and then it didn't sell. And the next year, Graffiti had come out, and Grease on Broadway, and they decided to do another pilot. And they changed the tone of the show quite a bit to fit more like Graffiti, and that's the one that sold.
So, with you being one of the main characters in the program, you guys were a young group at the time, working with very few older people, and you were the ones that were basically holding the program together. Did you feel a lot of pressure?
Not really. I mean, we got a script, and it was our job to do the best we can with what we had to do in the script. There wasn't really a lot of pressure. It was just, the pressure was working all these hours and getting these shows done, because when it was picked up, went on the air pretty quickly, so we weren't that far ahead in terms of episodes.
Okay.
So we were working every day, 17 hours a day.
Wow.
It wasn't a live camera. I mean, live audience show yet. It was a one camera movie show, and so it was exhausting. We were just pretty much exhausted, hoping that people would like the show.
So, what was the difference between a one camera shoot and a live audience program?
Well, one camera, it's like a movie. You do so many pages a day, and it's not spontaneous. It's a piece here, a piece there. A live audience show is like Lucy. It's like a play, and you have 300 people in an audience, and you do the entire scene at one time, and then you go to the next scene and the next scene. So it's like a live play. It's a lot more challenging because you have to memorize an entire script.
Okay.
But so much more fun and satisfying. It's great to hear real laughs and real people connecting to what you're doing.
So the one question I have, and I know my audience has too, whatever happened to Richie's brothers, Chuck?
Which Chuck?
His older brother.
There were two Chucks.
Oh, there were two Chucks.
There were two. Actually, yeah, two Chucks. The first Chuck was Gavin O'Hillihy, who was just great. But for some reason, it wasn't working out. And then so they let Gavin go. They brought in another Chuck. Literally, if you look, all of a sudden it's a different brother the next week.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and Gary said, no one will even know. No one will even know. They did.
And you're right.
The new brother came in, and then they didn't think that worked out. So they went, actually, there's just no room for that part. We have to get rid of that part. So, so Chuck went on a plane and never came back. And Gary said again, no one will even know. Guess what? No one cared.
You're right. So how was it working with Gary Marshall?
Oh, well, he was like a second father. I mean, he really cared about us. This is amazing, creative, very creative, wonderful guy. And he was and he cared about us as young people. And he really inspired us to learn much more about the business and inspired us to enhance, ourselves with the opportunity of wearing many, many hats. Learn to write, learn to direct. If you really want to stay in this business, you need to have options.
Okay.
And he created the Paramount lot into a college. So, I ended up directing and writing and all that. And he made sure I would shadow Roman Polanski doing Chinatown. I'd shadow John Schlesinger doing Day of the Locust. I'd shadow Randall Kleiser doing all the Grease musical numbers. So he made it into a school for all of us. And thank God, and we're still all very productive because of that, because of Gary.
That again is amazing to be able to work with the people that you just mentioned. I mean, that would be a dream for most.
Yeah, it's beyond masterclass, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. So when did they decide to let you, Richie, or I should say Ron and Don, to sing on the program? Whose idea was that?
Well, I'm the one that sang on the program. It was my idea.
Okay.
Back then, we didn't get paid like series players today. Someone gets $1 million today for half the exposure our show had, and we got like $1,200 a week an episode, right? So it was, and I've always been one to see what I had, not what I don't have. And I thought to myself, there's opportunity here. What is it? And I sang. I came out of nightclubs and out of musical theater, and I convinced Gary to try out a band on the show. And he liked it, and I was able to. They tried out a segment that people liked it, and he liked it, so I was able to start singing on about every third show, and he gave me the opportunity to be in charge of that part of it. I got to sing what I wanted, and I was in charge of my situation, which was it was nice to have that responsibility. So there I was, making, $1,200 an episode. And by finding an entrepreneurial solution, finding the best of what I had, I got signed by the same record company as David Cassidy. And I started doing, concerts all over the country, state fairs, music parks. So I was making $1,200 an episode and $17,000 a night singing.
Oh, wow.
And Gary said, I'm proud of you. You don't bitch. You found opportunity. You don't bitch. You're doing well and you helped the show. How good is this? It doesn't get better than this. Yeah, so everyone out there listening, look what you have, not what you don't have. Everyone can complain about what you don't have, but there's something you do have, no matter what the situation. So spend your time finding what you have and improve on it. And stop bitching about what you don't have. You're going to go nowhere.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from on that. And that's kind of interesting that you say that, because you did have a music career outside of the program. Now, did you like the genre of music that you were singing on the program?
Loved it. I loved it. Yes. Again, and there was a lot of different varieties of music we could do. It was great. Everything from the Beach Boys to Bobby Rydell to Bobby Darin, Yeah.
So I blame Happy Days. the reason is I grew up. I was 8 years old in 1974, so I watched the series from beginning to end. And you were the program that basically cultivated my musical taste, and I'm still an oldies DJ to this day.
Oh, that's fun. Well,
so I blame you.
It's pretty damn evergreen, isn't it?
Oh yeah. And the interesting thing now is that it's running on TV again. MeTV's running it on weeknights, and I guess they're seeing the ratings do very well because the program just keeps going. I think they're on the second time or third time running through the program.
Yeah, it's just it's not. I'm a small part of it, but it's a very classic program. It's a part of Americana that it represents, and it was always old, so it's always new, right?
Yeah, and I wouldn't consider you as a small part of the program because you were the guy that a lot of us identified with because we couldn't have identified with the Fonz. We weren't identifying with Richie. We weren't identifying with Ralph because we weren't funny. We were identifying with you because you were, I don't want to say this to offend you, but you were average.
Excuse me? Excuse me? I was accused one on the show and put out a ballot on that. Average? I don't think so.
Do you want me to call you a nerd then?
But I made everyone feel like I was average.
Right.
There you go.
There you go. Because the episode that Joni had the crush on you, and she was writing to you as, Dren, which was Nerd Backwards, was actually showing the audience that, hey, wait a minute, maybe guys like him do have a chance.
But only if you're very cute and could sing. Then you got a chance.
Well, I can't sing, so Don with that.
You're going to fail. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So when you worked with these, they had multiple spin-offs of the program, and you had Laverne and Shirley, but the one that no one ever thought would take off was Mork and Mindy. And Robin Williams was on Happy Days, of all places, to spin off of.
Well, Mork and Mindy was a hit from day one.
Yeah.
The thing was, no one ever thought there'd ever be a spin-off in life. When Gary Marshall took Scotty Marshall, his son, to Star Wars, and Scotty was 10 at the time. Mm-hmm. And when they came out, Scotty asked his dad, "Hey, can you do a Martian episode on Happy Days?" And he goes, and Gary's a family guy. He goes, "Oh yeah, we'll figure out something." So on Monday, at this point of the show, we were in front of a live audience, and the routine was on Mondays. You would read the script that's going to be shot the next week, so the writers could rewrite, and then you would read the script they had already rewritten that you're shooting the current week. And so we went in there, and we read the script. It's going to be a week away, called Mork for Mork. It was the worst piece of crap you've ever read in your life. It was unreadable. It was so bad. No, it was. There's bad. And even Henry, who's the most considerate, wonderful guy in the world, threw the script down, saying, "We can't do this." And Gary's saying, "It'll be fine. We'll work it. We'll rework it. It'll be fine." So, okay, all right. So we read the script that we're shooting that week. It's fine. We shoot the script. That week, we come in the next Monday. We read the script for the following week. It's fine. We read Mork for Mork, which we're shooting that week. Horrible. It was worse. Unshootable. And they cast some guy to play Mork. And it's just awful. And but what we have to do it. So we rehearse Monday, we rehearse Tuesday, we rehearse Wednesday. Thursday's just a production day. It's getting all the cameras in line, it's stop and start, getting marks, getting this. and doing the run-through at the end. But basically, rehearsal's over, and we're shooting it Friday. Well, Wednesday night, the guy playing Mork quits. And it wasn't his fault. It just was an awful part. He couldn't do anything with it. He quit.
Okay.
Gary Marshall comes down to the set and asks everyone, does anyone know a funny Martian? And Al Molinaro says, hey, there's this kid in my Harvey Lembeck improv class named Robin Williams. He's pretty funny. And his sister was casting director, Gary's sister, and Ronnie Howland, and she said, oh, yeah, I hear he's pretty good. Well, anyway, they hire him. So the next morning, Thursday, there's never a writer on the set on Thursdays. It's all mechanics. And I'm just thinking, I'm going in there, we're going to do the worst show in history of Happy Days. I get in there, and Don and I got in later because we weren't in the first few scenes. So, camera blocking and all that. So we're an hour or so later. We come in. Every writer on staff is on the set, writing crazily. We walk in. Jerry Paris, our director, runs over to us. He's a genius. He's a genius. He's a genius. And we look, and there's Robin Williams creating more, ad-libbing everything. Nanu, on his head, doing everything he's creating out of his brain. And the writers are there just writing everything down, and we just saw magic happening in front of our eyes. Well, that was by Friday night. It became one of the best episodes in Happy Days history.
So, what was the name of the guy that quit?
I don't remember. But he was
and no one else does either.
I don't remember. Well, if he'd have stayed in, it'd have been up. He didn't create anything. He was doing the lines.
Right.
Robin Williams came in and reinvented the whole show.
That's amazing.
Everything.
And I don't think I knew that Robin Williams was not originally casted for that. Because
no, not at all. A fluke.
And actually, how would we know? Because unless they publicized it. So again, in 2022, we would have known about it. But back then, no, we would have no clue.
No one. And then within 24 hours, he made it into a sensation. Yeah. And the audience went crazy at the end of the show. The world didn't know him, but at the end of the show, the audience went crazy. And then Gary Marshall had this idea because he had done a pilot with Pam Dauber, and he took some of that footage and some of this footage, and he sold 13 episodes to Fred Silverman over the phone.
Oh, wow.
He said, I'm going to call it Mork and Mindy.
Well, that's impressive.
History, man. Rest is history. Yeah.
How many episodes did you shoot in one season?
Gosh, sometimes I don't really remember. It's like 24, sometimes 32, sometimes 26. I don't really remember. It changed.
Do you think actors today and sitcoms have it easy because they're only doing like 12 to 14?
Oh, I don't know if they have it. Well, it's easier because they're not having to work as many months. That's definitely easier, and they're getting a tremendous amount more money than we ever got. So yeah, it's easier. It's easier, but everything has its problems. It's harder to stay on the air for years. I mean, we stayed on the air for 10 and a half years.
Right.
So how many do that?
So are you getting residuals from the original program?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit, not a lot. People have this. They have this mistaken idea of, you're getting residuals. Not much. The only way you make money, real money on sitcoms or anything, you need to own a piece of the syndication. That means when they sell it into syndication, they get a percentage of that sale, not just an actor on air.
Okay.
It's pretty minimal.
Because I spoke to Stanley Livingston about 3 months ago, and he was talking about his days on My Three Sons, that they got nothing. And it's a shame because those are still running in just forever. Same with Gilligan's Islands and stuff like that.
Yeah, we were lucky. We got in there and a residual started.
Okay.
So, but even then it wasn't great. It was pretty unfair, actually.
Because the work you've done, and especially the people that are still making profit on it, you would assume that you would hopefully get something in return because they're making money off you.
Yeah, but you're just, you're an actor on it. You didn't create it. You signed a contract.
Right.
And you abide by it. But like I always said, but look for the positives. The positives for me were I had a singing career for years, did very well. It gave me the opportunity to study and educate myself to get behind the camera. And I've been directing since 1985, right? So it gave me a lot more opportunity than worrying about residuals, So I try to use it productively. And Gary Marshall was a big motivator for that.
So do you feel Happy Days may have ran 3 or 4 seasons too long?
I don't know. Once Ron left on his directing career and Donnie left, once we lost Ron and Don, I think maybe so. It was it was a lot of the key elements were gone. It's pretty hard to reinvent the magic.
Yeah.
So, so I don't know. As long as people liked it, and they kept it, the ratings slowly went down, and then it's time to come. But honestly, what show goes on for 10.5 years?
Oh, I know.
It was just, it's wonderful. I think maybe it was a couple of seasons too long.
What's interesting is that one of the terms in Hollywood now is called jumping the shark, and it actually was created because of Happy Days, because of the episode where Fonzie felt the need that he had to water ski over a shark tank or whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, that happened because they wanted to do an action thing, and Henry, the one thing he could do was water ski.
I would have never thought of that.
They wanted to shoot him good. So Gary goes, he'll jump over a shark, right? Which is kind of tongue-in-cheek, funny, fun. So we did it. And by the way, jump the shark, it's supposed to be where you hit the tip of your popularity and you're on your way down, right?
Right.
Except we were on 5 more years.
Yeah.
We weren't quite on our way down, okay? We're halfway through. So Jump the Shark doesn't really relate to our show. However, a very clever man that worked for Howard Stern created it, got the URL, okay? And created Jump the Shark, a website, right? Years ago, Reader's Guide, TV Guide bought it for $10 million from this guy, which shows how stupid we are on the show for not inventing it.
Right, you're right. That episode actually, and I'm wondering if it was meant to do this, because earlier in the program, when Fonzie jumped the garbage cans on the TV program, You Wanted to See It. Did they have that in mind when they wanted him to jump the shark?
What, to make it into an event kind of thing?
Yeah, like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I just wonder if there was any connection between the two.
Ratings. By the way, it got big ratings, okay? It got big ratings. I look at it, I think it's hysterical. I think it's so much fun. I'm going, what's wrong with this show?
Yeah.
It's fun. Crazy, tongue-in-cheek fun. And again, our series lasted for 10.5 years, okay? Mm-hmm. We went 5 years longer after supposedly the end of the show.
Well, I honestly think people take things too seriously, and they couldn't see it for the humor and the fun that you were having with it.
Exactly. It was tongue-in-cheek, man. Yeah.
So you've been working with Don Most and yourself reuniting for a project that you've recently done called Harvest Time. Exactly.
Yeah. It was so because actually it was, I've been mostly directing and writing since '85, not really acting. And Don is just a terrific actor. Right? He's my best friend. And the script came in. It's actually a one-act play, and we thought, and just backtracking, if I would do it with him, it would be financed. So I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to see if we take these iconic characters, Ralph and Potsie, it's embedded in people's heads, and we're together again, but in a whole different genre, a really dark comedy, real life humor, but just painful and funny, and just an arena no one would expect us in, playing totally different characters, totally different, but still the chemistry, hopefully the same chemistry. And that was Harvest Time. And it was written by just an award-winning Broadway author and playwright. And it was also, and I directed it, which was quite a challenge, being the limitations of my character. I'm a character that has that's going to die if I don't get a new kidney, and my brother promised me his to save my life, and he comes over one day to tell me that I'm sorry, but he sold it on eBay. I'm stuck without a kidney. So now you get this dark comedy, right? But out of it comes a lot of depth and the years together, and quite a challenge, directorially huge challenge, and acting-wise huge challenge. But I said, let's see if we can pull this off, playing these different characters, and let's just see if they get accepted. It'd be a great challenge. So we did it, and it's called Harvest Time.
When I watched it, I'll be honest with you, I didn't realize you were brothers. I just thought you were really close friends, and the idea of him selling it on eBay I thought was just dark in itself. And then the fight going on between you two, especially with your wife, who he starts to basically hit on, and supposedly she may have an interest in him because you're not able to do what you used to do because you're attached to a machine.
Right. But more than that, he was like getting even with me. All of a sudden, I didn't realize I was demeaning and degrading to him as a brother as he was growing up. And he was just getting back. He just wanted attention. He just wanted me to realize what I've done. He loves me, but I'm not going to accept what you did to me.
Right.
And we do it through humor, dark humor, and then just real awful pain when I break. And we end up being loving brothers at the end.
That's what I was just going to say. And then you reconciled at the end, but you still won't watch golf with him.
Nope. I won't watch golf with him. I'm into race cars, man. No, he's into race cars. I'm into golf. It's zen.
Yeah.
It's zen. Yeah. But anyway, it ended, and honestly, I'm very thrilled. We've won all these awards and all these festivals. It's pretty amazing, the appreciation for the little film, and that felt good. It felt good. I even won an acting award. I couldn't believe it. I said, "You got to be kidding me, really?" So, but it was very satisfying, and Donnie's phenomenal in it, and hopefully, once it's done with the festivals, we'll be able to put it on YouTube or something so everyone can see it.
So the question I have, and I didn't think of it until just now, but if someone approached you and Don and say, "Hey, we want to do a program with you two. We don't want to really do it as Ralph and Potsie, but we want to have that feeling of you guys in your older life and being roommates or whatever it is, maybe a new version of The Odd Couple or something like that." Would you be willing to do it?
Well, actually, that would be a reboot of Happy Days in a different way.
Okay.
And that would be we actually kind of created something that we're in discussion about. But actually, it is odd coupling, and Cindy Williams running the apartment house. But it's
that would be
a lot of fun. Yeah, it would be a lot of fun.
With everybody doing reboots of TV programs of the 80s and 90s, do you want to see a reboot of Happy Days or a progression of what happened to characters?
Well, I think it'd be Don and Don will work with any time. You're not going to get Henry and Don and Ron and all that. No. But if we can take a part of it and build it out to today, with yesterday, I think it could be a lot of fun. but it can't be like a reboot. I mean, it's
Okay.
like, you know, there's many people have passed away, and so we have to take remnants of it, the spirit of it, the love for it, and hopefully get the chemistry of the cast to work again, but today, you know, so
Right.
where it's organic.
So, your singing career, one of the songs that you made popular was because you were trying to pass a anatomy class, and you were having a heck of a time remembering the way the heart works, and you sang a song called Pump Your Blood.
Right. Yep.
It was recently redone, and it's done for the time of COVID. It was done for kids, called I'm Gonna Wash My Hands.
Yeah.
That is one of the cutest songs and videos I think I've ever seen.
Oh, I'm so glad. Because Jimmy Dunn wrote Pump Your Blood. And actually has been songwriter of the year with Anne Murray. I mean, he's a huge he's developed into a huge music career. Anyway, I called him and I said, you know, remember Pump Your Blood? He goes, yeah. I said, and I was reading all this stuff about kids not doing what they're supposed to do because of COVID. I said, what do you think about just doing new lyrics for the song? You know, I'm gonna wash, 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 I'm gonna wash my hands, right?
Yeah.
Don't touch your, and make it fun for parents. And he said, that's a great idea. So we funded it together, and I re-recorded it, and we put it out there to, you know, to maybe inspire kids to do the right thing, wash their hands in a very fun way, help parents out. And it did very well. I think it really helped. I think it really helped a lot of families, classrooms, you know, kindergarten, pre-kindergarten, all those kind of classes. And I think it helped a lot, just inspiring kids to just do simple things to protect themselves.
Do you like doing that kind of music that for kids that would be considered educational?
I have never really been into that. I mean, the Pump Your Blood was scary as can be because, you know, he had it basically in the script, Anson's going to sing this song. Now, we film on Friday, and I'm waiting for this. I film on Friday night. I get the song Thursday morning to pre-record.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm going, how the heck am I going to remember this thing? It's like, oh, my God, right? It was like, oh, my gosh. It's like the whole anatomy class in 2 minutes.
Right.
You know? So I recorded it. Hard enough to record it. Now I'm supposed to mouth it, right? You know, lip sync it.
Yeah.
I had cue cards all over that stage, man. Everywhere. I had cue cards. I had flop sweat coming down like you couldn't believe. And thank goodness we got through it. It ended up great. But no, I mean, I never was into that. I did it because, you know, it was part of the show. Really appreciated it. But it wasn't what I was, you know, into or musically or anything like that. And then years later, then it took off. After that, it took off, and it's in every, you know, anatomy class in thousands of classrooms. You play that clip, you know,
Yep.
when they're studying anatomy. So it ended up being quite something. But that's because of Jimmy. Jimmy wrote a brilliant song. And then I just thought, you know, I think it could work again to help, you know, put in kids' heads things to do to protect them from a COVID situation.
Mm-hmm. So you were also on something which I call it virtual Hollywood Squares, where they came up with the idea of actually having you guys in your own home, still being the squares that you would remember seeing on the original program, and working with contestants virtually. How did that go?
It was so much fun. You know, I had done Hollywood Squares originally with Peter Marshall.
Yeah.
Years ago. And then I think it's called Hollywood Museum Hollywood Squares or Hollywood Squares, whatever. And it was to help. It's a nonprofit. It's Hollywood Museum up on Highland. It's just a phenomenal tribute to the entertainment industry. It's just an amazing place. So we all volunteered to to reenact Hollywood Squares during the COVID situation, but it was all done through Zoom, and just brilliant technical people there made it all look like it was like we were all in one room, all in one set. So it's called Hollywood Museum Squares. If people go to the HollywoodMuseum.com, they can read all about it and get it. But it's just so many great celebrities, and a lot of the same ones that were on Hollywood Squares. The original host, Peter Marsh, is a host. John Davidson's a host. Oh my gosh, I forgot the names, but everyone ever hosts Hollywood Squares hosts the shows. It's just a lot of fun.
There's one person that I've actually had the opportunity to talk to just after Christmas, but Bruce Verlange was also a host, and that must have been very interesting to talk to him. Well,
Bruce, he's an icon to the industry. He's just an incredible, funny writer, funny personality, and just a great host, great guy, and just so talented. And he just brings such laughter and joy to people.
Because I could see him being a host and just talking to him when I did, going off script in different directions.
Oh yeah. He's like, forget about it. He's a modern day. He's an older Robin Williams.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? You're right. I never thought of that. So.
Yeah.
But Anson, it has been a pleasure to talk to you today. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you're able to take time to join me today. And is there anything you have coming up that's going to be happening within the next year and a half?
There's some very exciting things, but I just can't talk about it right now. I'll be back on and give you details once I'm allowed to.
Sure. That sounds fantastic. Yes, I'll take you up on that offer.
Okay.
Well, Anson, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it, and you have a great rest of your day.
You too. God bless everybody. Please, everyone stay safe. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Hey, a big thank you goes out to Anson Williams for joining me today. Had a great time. It was a pleasure to be able to talk to him. One of those things that I never thought I'd have the opportunity to do. And again, Anson, thank you very much. And thank you for listening to this edition of the Bill Alexander Show. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for listening to The Bill Alexander Show. The Bill Alexander Show is a $1 Million Baby production. For more information, go to thebillalexandershow.com.